So, unless you've been living in a cave or under a rock for the last year or two, you're no doubt aware of the so-called bathroom bill in North Carolina that's caused such an uproar over transgender rights. The whole transgender issue has been pushed into the public consciousness over the last several years, with a number of high-profile celebrities announcing that they're openly transgender. Now, these are people who publicly admit that they were born one sex, but they identify as the opposite sex. What most people might not realize is that this whole transgender issue didn't arise in a vacuum or spontaneously. Hollywood has long been complicit in promoting a transgender agenda. Now, if you take a look at films like Tootsie, you'll see that that film came out in the early 80s, so it's about 34, 35 years ago. However, it's been going on even longer than that. Some Like It Hot starred Marilyn Monroe and featured her two male co-stars in dresses. This film came out in the late 1950s, so that's coming up on 60 years ago. And if you were to do the research, you'd probably find examples even earlier than that. Now, if these were the only two films that featured transgenders, it'd be easy to write that off. However, it appears that this is only a small part of a much broader agenda that Hollywood is helping to promote. If you were to do a Google image search on male celebrities in dresses or in drag, you might be amazed to see all the pics that come up. Chances are you'll find a picture of your favorite male celebrity dressed as a woman. In fact, it almost seems like at some point in their career, a male celebrity is expected to appear dressed as a woman, just like another box that has to be checked. The funny thing about all this is that these men in dresses are so obviously men pretending to be women, yet they invariably fool many of the other characters in the movie, and it makes one wonder if these deceived people are just plain stupid. When you really take a look at this and examine it, it should be obvious that Hollywood is contributing to the transgender agenda. With all the open trannies that they parade in front of us, would it really be a stretch of the imagination to believe that they would attempt to sneak closeted trannies right under our noses? What if some of your favorite A-list actresses and actors were actually trannies in real life? That is, they are playing the opposite sex in real life. Consider what Hollywood does. They try to make you believe something that isn't true. When Hollywood makes a movie or a show, they go to great lengths, time and expense-wise, to make you believe that you're seeing something that isn't really true. Costumes, computer-generated images, the skill and talent of the actors, elaborately coordinated stunts, etc. Now, I'm not saying that any of the people in the previous pictures are actually transgender, but I'm not prepared to say that they're not. A skeptic might say, well, she has children, or I saw her pregnancy pictures in the National Enquirer. Well, we all know that they can fake a pregnancy in the movies or a TV show. It's not very hard to do. So something like that can very easily be faked in real life. Does this sound strange to you? It shouldn't. People have had their sexual organs altered for centuries for the entertainment of the elite. If you look back to the castratos, this is easily traced back several centuries, and chances are it's been going on even longer than that. Human skulls will typically have noticeable variation between the sexes, and this makes it somewhat easy to spot some of the older Hollywood trannies if you know what to look for. Hormones could be administered pre- or post-pubescent, and plastic surgery could be performed to mitigate or enhance certain characteristics of the sexes. As technology has advanced, we're not only able to determine the sex of a baby at an early stage of gestation, it's also possible to administer hormones to the baby in utero and change its sex before it's even born. Now, this isn't the stuff of conspiracy theories. This is stuff that's been out there, put out there in the mainstream media, and it's been public knowledge for quite some time. And God only knows what they're doing with cloning technology and what they're capable of. So the obvious question becomes, why would Hollywood do such a thing, going to great lengths to push transgenders in front of the public? This needs to be understood. Hollywood is not doing this of their own volition. The people who run Hollywood are acting as agents on behalf of occultists who pull the strings of governments and corporations. This is Baphomet, a representation of the god that these people worship. Take careful note of the androgynous characteristics displayed on this figure. You might also see their goat god Baphomet displayed within a pentagram shape such as this. Hollywood is a propaganda arm for the elites. those that trace their origin back thousands of years before Christ walked the earth, all the way back to the cults of the Bronze Age Sumerian civilizations. When you give Hollywood your money and attention, you're getting much more than mere entertainment. Now, we've all come home after a long, hard day at work, and sometimes we just want to veg out in front of the TV and watch a show or a movie. However, if we watch something without a discerning or a critical eye, we can really open ourselves up to being programmed, not just on a conscious level, but also a subconscious and subliminal level as well. The actors and actresses you see are not hired based solely on talent. To be sure, that has something to do with it, but they're paid their multi-million-dollar salaries because they're almost always on the clock, even after the director yells cut. They're there to promote Hollywood's agenda, whatever that might be, and to keep their mouths shut about it. Now, it's a safe bet that most of what you see and hear about these celebrities' personal lives is carefully scripted.